Let me start with something that has come out just a few days ago, and it revolves around John Solomon. John Solomon is an award-winning journalist. He has been in the business forever, and he has been horribly smeared by tech and by the mainstream media for telling the truth. He just published a statement because he has been under investigation at The Hill, where he was hired to be the main guy to run their digital work. And he started printing stories about Ukraine and about Hunter Biden and what was going on, and also the laptop. So The Hill said, we got to get rid of him. We're gonna have to review everything that he does and says. Well, The Hill has published an update to review all of the work that he did in Ukraine, his reporting and other articles. They did not find a conflict of interest. Also, The Hill's newsroom review did not identify a single factual error in any of his colleagues' columns. Indeed, after months of digging into claims from liberal media and impeachment witnesses that my reporting was false, The Hill found nothing false in my reporting. They didn't interview him, but why would you do that when you're trying to get to the truth? Why would you interview the principal person involved?
Seems like too much work.
Yeah, it does, but it doesn't matter. They have cleared all of his reporting. Now, how much damage has this done? To John, I don't think very much, because he started justthenews.com. And I will tell you, it is a go-to source every day for me. You want real journalism, real reporting? JustTheNews.com does it. John Solomon joins us now. Hi, John.
Great to be with you guys.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, listen, you're only as good as your next story. You know that, Glenn, so we're always working for the next story. And
I know.
The truth of the matter is the avalanche of facts that were held behind the dam of censorship, which, by the way, at your Reagan dinner speech at CPAC, you really hit it on the head about the danger of the censorship. But you know what? The dam is breaking and the facts are overflowing and overrunning the dam now. And soon the American people are going to know the truth in spite of the news media. And that's a good thing for all of us.
So just so the audience knows, because I think these are all, these are earth-shattering, now all confirmed. Top Ukrainian justice official says the U.S. ambassador gave him a do not prosecute list. That's huge. Been denied over and over again. The ambassador is clearly a liar on this. Senior Ukrainian official says he opened a probe into U.S. election interference. As Russian collusion fades, a Ukrainian plot to help Clinton emerges. U.S. Embassy pressed Ukraine to drop probe of George Soros during the 2016 election. Joe Biden's 2020 Ukrainian nightmare. A closed probe is revived. Ukrainians to U.S. prosecutors. Why don't you want our evidence on the Democrats? How Obama White House engaged Ukraine to give Russia collusion narrative an early boost. Ukrainian embassy confirms DNC contractor solicited Trump dirt in 2016. God, FBI warned early and often that Manafort file might be fake, but they used it anyway. How Mueller deputy Andrew Weissman's offer to an oligarch could boomerang on the DOJ. This just goes on and on. Those stories, somebody has to pay a price because those people are still in this administration, many of them, and doing possibly this or worse because nobody's paid a price.
Yeah, no, you couldn't have said it better, Glenn. That's really it. And here's the thing. All of that smoke, all of those stories and the counterattacks against me and Peter Schweizer, think about this. There were people in the news media calling Peter Schweizer a conspiracy theorist. This guy is the best researcher in American history. He doesn't do any better. But you know what? All of that incoming fire was to keep us from the truth of what we really wanted to get, which was that Hunter Biden was running an influence peddling scheme, enriching his family, cashing in on his father's name. And the other day, I put together a story that I think is my favorite one of the last 4 or 5 years. It looks at how, as the war is beginning in Ukraine, the first war, when Russia invaded in 2014 on Obama Biden's watch, as they're taking over Crimea, Hunter Biden is sitting with his business partner saying, all right, let's get one oligarch on each side of this conflict and let's go make some money. So he goes to Yelena Baturina, a billionaire Russian oligarch, and then goes to Mykola Zlochevsky, the Burisma owner, and they're working to get both of them to pay them lots of money. And they actually write in the middle of this scheme, because that's really what it is, this is going to be life-changing for us, meaning the amount of money they're going to get, as long as Ukraine doesn't fall to Russia before we get our money. They literally knew they were hedging a bet on the war to enrich the Biden machinery. And you go through all of the emails. Hunter Biden is on a first-name basis with the Russian oligarch. He's working for a company that his father's own administration considers corrupt. It's all okay because it was a great way for them to make money. The idea that Hunter Biden, the vice president's son, is profiteering off a Russian war on Ukraine, the first one, is really the ultimate thing that all of those people who are attacking us were trying to hide. They didn't want that story out there. Now it's out there.
So, John, by the way, congratulations. That is a tremendous story. The oligarch, the Russian oligarch, is that the Moscow mayor's wife?
Sure was.
Yeah.
You're right. Yeah. The one that, remember, a few months ago, maybe a year ago it is, all the Democrats and their Democratic media allies were saying there's no evidence that Hunter Biden was in contact with it. It had nothing to do with it. Now, the only evidence up to that was that Ron Johnson and Chuck Grassley showed a $3.5 million payment from that. We just put a new document out. It is the board minutes of one of Hunter Biden's company. It's called Burnham. According to Burnham, Hunter Biden was a vice president. Devin Archer, his convicted sidekick, is the head of it. In this board minutes, in the summer of 2014, they boast that Yelena Baturina didn't give them $3.5 million. She gave them $200 million. That is a document that the FBI seized, a document the FBI has put into court files. Good luck trying to find any mainstream media that was willing to appear that. But Hunter Biden was calling Baturina by her first name, Yelena, meeting with her at a hotel, scheming up ideas to tap her money for real estate deals and other things, a cocoa initiative in Latin America. And when he's talking about the cocoa initiative, he and Devin Archer joke, maybe we can get some money for Petro Poroshenko, the Ukrainian president. By the way, Ukrainian president who fired the prosecutor at Joe Biden's request. Hunter Biden was on a first-name basis. And a year ago, the Democrats were telling us there was nothing that connected them. They were lying.
So, John, may I take you into, possibly you have information on this, but probable speculation. What is happening really in Ukraine now? I mean, this is, I believe that, Putin, I don't know, misjudged or whatever, and went into Ukraine, and there's nothing bogus there. But with all of the facts and all of the really nasty stuff, really tied directly to Biden and Clinton, there is there anything else? Do you think possibly going on? Is evidence being destroyed? Is there anything?
Probably not. Listen, it's hard to erase evidence today, right? Because there's so many digital copies, and someone's hacked it somewhere along the way. Listen, I think the war, the second invasion of Ukraine on Joe Biden's watch, because the first one also occurred on his watch when he was VP in charge of the region, is a reflection that of three things. One, that Vladimir Putin has always thought Joe Biden to be weak. So if you're going to do something you always wanted to do it on the weak guy's watch.
Correct.
The second part is, and Devin Nunes said this on my television show last night, and it's really resonated in my mind all night and into the morning today. He said that, listen, the greatest crime of the Russia collusion scandal, the effort by Hillary Clinton to hang a fake story on Donald Trump, and is that it handicapped 2 or 3 years of the presidency of Donald Trump. And Donald Trump had an opportunity to realign the relations between Russia and Ukraine. He was willing to give lethal aid to Ukraine, which Obama was too chicken to do. He was willing to sanction Putin, and he probably would have been willing to get a sort of grand bargain between the two sides that would lower the tensions. But because Russia collusion took Russia off the table for the president, he and his team couldn't execute a peace through strength policy. And as a result, Joe Biden gets in, and now we're doing peace through appeasement. And we see what happens when we go peace through appeasement, the European model. The bullies, like Putin, get aggressive, and we sit back and we're counterpunching at best. I think what Devin Nunes was trying to say is all these scandals that were faked by the media kept President Trump from maybe creating a lasting peace solution like he did in the Middle East with the Abraham Accords. Very interesting way to look at the last 5 years of history.
All right, back with John Solomon. If you can hang with me, give me 1 minute, and we'll be back with John Solomon, author of Fallout and CEO, editor-in-chief of JustTheNews.com. We are now hearing that, the laptop is true. It's real. It's crazy. But the White House is still denying that Biden had anything to do with it. They're all these things are now verified. All the really important things are verified that he was making money and he knew his son was involved in all of these things. Big laws were broken just in their financial goings on between Hunter and Joe Biden. But you're not hearing anyone in they're all throwing Hunter Biden under the bus.
That's right.
But making sure that everybody knows. But the president's completely clean.
Ron Johnson used the great Watergate term over the weekend. He used it again in an interview this morning. What the media is engaged in is a limited modified hangout, which is they're going to now give you some ground and acknowledge that the false reality that they had created is not totally true, but they're not going to give us the whole truth until the next shoe falls. That's a great public relations strategy we saw happen time and again in the Nixon years. I think he's right, which is right now they went from Hunter Biden did nothing wrong to, he's got a lot of problems, but there's no evidence Joe Biden did anything. I want to object to that picture that they're portraying right now. We know from the documents that we just made public a couple of days ago on this oligarch story that Joe Biden agreed to a dinner with his son where the Russian oligarch, Elena Baturina, was being invited along with her mayor husband, the Moscow mayor husband. The top senior executive at Burisma was invited, and some Kazakhstan oligarchs were invited. Joe Biden attended that dinner. That's not in dispute. That is facilitating his son's foreign policy. Joe Biden took Hunter Biden on Air Force Two in 2013 and met with the Chinese businessman from the Communist Party who helped Hunter Biden set up his China fund. Joe Biden is listed as the big guy entitled to 10% on the 2017 CEFC Chinese deal. Joe Biden is far more involved, and the media is just not acknowledging that yet. But I have a funny feeling when the indictment comes out, we're going to see Joe Biden's name a lot more clearly in the storyline.
What makes you say that?
Well, listen, you can't tell the story of an operation without pointing out the reason Hunter Biden wielded this influence and could make this money was he was promising access to his dad. There's an amazing document, Glenn, that came out in 2020 that no one noticed. We grabbed it out of the file. Seamus Bruner at Peter Schweizer's operation and I did. It's from one of the business partners, John Galanis, who worked with Hunter Biden along with his son for many years. And he gets convicted in the tribal scheme where Hunter Biden walks away. Mm-hmm. But he writes the court under penalty of perjury in an affidavit in 2020 and said, listen, at the end of the day, Hunter Biden told my family they were running an influence peddling scheme. Let me read exactly. Jason Galanis, his son, gave his interest in this company that Hunter Biden was in, Burnham, to Archer on the prospect that Archer and Hunter Biden would continue to attract foreign oligarchs on the promise of high-level political contacts. He then goes to call the operation a political influence peddling operation. That is one of Hunter Biden's own business partners saying, we all know what was going on. Joe Biden can't escape that storyline when an indictment comes down.
Do you think we'll see something before the election, or is it going to take the Republicans taking over before we see it?
Great question. Right. Listen, Chuck Grassley and Ron Johnson continue to make incredible information. Last night, they had an amazing floor speech where they put out a whole bunch of new China stuff that's jaw-dropping. But here's the thing. Right now, the activity before the grand jury in Delaware is very fast, rapid, intense. It's at a pace that you normally see when an indictment is only a couple of months or a couple of weeks out. It looks very much like the activity the grand jury had with John Durham last summer before he dropped the Sussman and Igor Danchenko indictments last fall. So it looks like they're moving to that point of trying to secure an indictment. No one knows what a prosecutor can do, what the grand jury will decide. But the activity suggests that an indictment is in the near offing. And I think that will give us the sort of visibility and accountability into what the government now knows.
John, thank you so much. Thanks for everything you do.
Honored to be on your show. And listen, your speech at the CPAC was one of the most important speeches given at that long conference in a long time. And I sat in that audience. I watched you and Tulsi Gabbard back to back, and I walked away thinking they have it right. America can't be America if we continue repressing free speech. So thank you for what you said that night.
You bet. Thank you. John Solomon from justthenews.com.